This is the Bible of the electrogenic cell. It's not just the best book ever written on the subject, it's the only book ever written on this subject. Brought to you by supporters of Christ.
Shout out to Kev. Is my mic on? Let me make sure my mic is on. My mic sounds nice. So I'm trying to get into this new book. Yeah, we're trying to get into this new book. Trying to get into this new book. I got to thank Tika. Tika sent me an amazing gift for Christmas. Shout out to Tika. I did not think I was getting any gifts for Christmas. Shout out to Tika. That was a dope gift. We dropped some new music though. We dropped some new music. I was playing around with the editing software, learning some stuff. Did y'all get to see that? Did y'all get to see what I did? Or y'all was hating? Y'all was hating? I think y'all was hating for sure. Did y'all listen to the new music? If y'all ain't listen to the new music, y'all was definitely hating. There's no way I can talk about the new book without the music to go along with it. Like, what are we doing? No, it's not music to go along with it. It's just Christmas, New Year's music. Christmas, New Year's music. Hold on. Let me share this on Twitter for my handful of followers on Twitter that might be bored out of their mind because Christmas is not for adults. All right, now let me see something here.
Money, get rich. Today is a holy day. Help is well. Help.
I love Dr. EnQi.
Get money, get rich. Get money, get rich. Today is a holy day. Hey, get money, get rich. Today is a holy day. Help is well. Help. Bit of smalls, get money, get rich. Get money, get rich. Yeah. EnQi giving sight to the blind, realignment. Healing the sick, it's time and divine assignment. I wrote more books than your doctor ever read. Send kids to college all the words that I said. Sacrifice parties, turn down sexual offers. 200 books made my children authors. Scribe my legacy in pages. Left the club stages. Wisdom cage in paper. Freedom's wages. Get money, get rich. Today is a holy day. Get money, get rich. Today is a holy day. Health is wealth. Bit of smalls, getting a bit of most. Get money, Every seed I plant, a tree that bears fruit. Truth in my roots, proof in a pursuit. God gave me the pen, I turned ink into bread. Wrote scriptures on hustles, every page was fed. Prayers in the morning, prophets by the night. Never took shortcuts, the long road's my light. Bless the path while the greedy chase the fast. I stack health, now the wealth gonna last. Bitters cleanse my soul, moss keep me strong. Herbs in my tea keep me moving along. Sacrifice the flesh, multiply the spirit. The word is the bread, the faithful gon' hear it. Yeah. Get money, get rich. Today is a holy day. Get money, get rich. Today is a holy day. Holy is a holy day. Sit up first, get rich, the most. Get money, get rich. Yeah, da da da, da da da, da da da.
Hello, Dr. EnQi.
I work for God and the natural rules. It's my office, this my proof. Long. EnQi. Electrify that fat, get that stack, yeah, run that back. Electrify that fat, get that stack, yeah, run that back. Detox kids, we got hits, movies and shows, I didn't skip. We the hash, and we the grit. Stack them books, page flip, we get mine. Green book, big screen, big string. Look, the kid mean, they counted me out. Now I'm on route. Now we up, what they gon' doubt? Sleep, John, told them boys don't try. Pages in the pot, stack like bricks. Books on books. Now watch this flip. Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Brain on fire out the cage. It's that vegan rage on the main stage. Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Too much game in a mortal frame. Can't go back, you gon' know my name. Too much game in a mortal frame. Can't go back, you gon' know my name. 200 books, 200 tapes, 200 albums, we bent those shapes. Now we about to tackle all the screens. TV, movie, flip the whole scene. How come entertainment? Where your brain went? When you lost it, I found it. That's payment. Now we're surrounded, guarded, crowned. Motor pure light circle all around it. You was scrolling, I was studying. You was trolling, I was bowling. We cooking green, cause we need to get go. We ain't green, get green. We cooking green, cause we need to get go. We ain't green, looking green. Big plate, big dream, I clean. Fuck up, then the funds lean. Black is green. So get money, get healthy. But get books dummy. Game from me, come well from. Yeah. Turn it up. Let it bang. Pump me up, it's the beat. Pump me up, it's the beat. Living spark, light in the dark. You my heart. Tick tock, teaching life to the block. Electric shock to the cattle bottle up. Felt my spine lock, then my mind pop. Oh, heaven hump, like wake up kid and you ain't. More people to heal, more money to make, more heart on the shake, more fires to break. Hands on the book, eyes on the pen. Teach, make them read again. Read to the Greek. turn, we gonna need feed on the keys, not the feed on. Yo. Yeah. Feliz Navidad. Feliz Año Nuevo. Yeah. We got another chance to get it in. Get it in. Feliz Navidad. Feliz Año Nuevo. Whoa. We got another chance to get it in. Get it in. Bring it back again. Some of us was enemies, some of us was friends. Some work, some was spent. Either way, we got another chance to get it in. Out of that mud, out of that jam, whole crew locked in. We don't move for the ground. Live up, read the books, let it soak in. Numbers on my mind while the snow still thin. Work smarter, not harder, that's facts. But you got. Boots on the true source, red like Rudolph. Red like Rudolph. Boots on the true source, red like Rudolph. Red like Rudolph. Jingle all the way. Protein you can take, make that shake, do that way. Fish your face, lock it in. This that grind, not pretend. We wish you a merry wish. We wish you a merry spin. Stop there at beloved. Pockets talking budget. What? We nothing to budget. What? We nothing to budget. What? On grass we slide, on grass we ride it. Different you deal, Mr. Wu, see a play king, vegan green skin. Red like Rudolph. Red like Rudolph. Boots on the true source. Red like Rudolph. Red like Rudolph.
All right, we did a little something. Yeah, we did a little something. Them joints is, that's the up tempo. I was thinking about Peyton yesterday. When I started putting them joints together.
I tried to offer a counterbalance. Hey, welcome to our first auto-drug therapy. This is all about grateful
All right, so we got to get to work. I wanted to jump into the new book. Right, we spent yesterday doing the family thing. So today I figured we'll do our thing. Right, today I figured we'll do our thing. And get into this a little bit. Yeah, I figured we'd get into this a little bit today. Yeah, I figured we'll get into this joint right here a little bit. Right? Are we reading the intro? This book begins from a simple but disruptive realization. Much of what modern science treats as fundamental is actually descriptive, not causal. Much of what modern science treats as fundamental is descriptive, not causal. For the hardcore science heads, you should understand that already. For the people who are not hardcore science folks, but you are on the health side, right? You are because I get both people. I get people who enjoy hearing and talking and discussing and learning science, and I also get people who are who enjoy hearing, discussing, and learning health information, right? So if you are in the science pocket, you should already know the difference between these two things. If you're in the health pocket, you may not be used to hearing health described this way, but this is the difference between Western medicine and holistic philosophy or naturopathic philosophy. Descriptive is symptoms, causal is roots. So it's probably much easier for you to understand it that way, right? In naturopathic or holistic practices, the idea is to get to the root cause as opposed to just addressing symptoms, right? A lot of people, their problem with pharmakia, right? Their problem with pharmakia is symptomology and driving money and things like that. Matter of fact, let's do that before we'll come back. Let's circle back to this. I feel like we should circle back to this. Yeah, I think we should circle back to this. I think we should do the pharmakia thing because a lot of people now are interested in the story. We did the whole marathon yesterday. A bunch of people stopped in. They left. They came back. People were shopping yesterday, doing family stuff, and they were trying to watch. They were trying to watch while they were moving around. Right? We got some folks supported a little something. I put up a demo today, a better demo of what I've been learning. Shout out to High Frequency TV. High Frequency TV said, "Yo, don't rush it." Yo, that was such a slap in the face. That's how my kids violate me. You know what I'm saying? Dad, it's they just blunt criticism, but that's the learning process. I prefer to learn, openly, especially if I'm going to ask people to support my effort, right? That way people know that I am working, trying to earn their attention and their support, right? But at some point, so we'll look at that. We'll take a look at the improvements. You know what I'm saying? We'll check the video. We'll circle back to the book. Right. But I think it would be good for me to circle back on pharmakia. Now, I don't know how far our deep dive will go right now, but it'll be an intro. In the early 2000s, I did a lecture on this, just so y'all have some background, right? In the early 2000s, I did a lecture on this. This is when the conversation was real hot about Monsanto and what's that Agent Orange and glyphosate, and this is early 2000s. And so as now, what I'm saying, I still was in my middle space. I've always been in my middle space. This is why nobody really, what I'm saying, like I got ops everywhere, right? I don't have people that like me. I have people that love me or they hate me. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to reduce the number of people that hate me though, and just cultivate the love people. But yeah, I the online community, debates are what drives commerce. So even in like the sports space, you have debate shows. The news, they debate the news topics. Like debate has taken over everywhere. So it's not just like conscious community thing, it's everywhere. Roman entertainment, blood sport, and I'm the one guy like, can't we just get along? You know what I'm saying? Why can't we love Kemet and the Bible? You know what I'm saying? Like, why can't we just so anyway? One of the things when I was doing my minister thing hardcore, and I was going around and speaking at churches, that's one of the things that I would talk to them about in the church was pharmakia, because pharmakia is a biblical term, right? So it's a very and I'm saying it, and we're going to touch on it real quick because it's interwoven throughout the fabric of so many of the stories in the books now. I don't think that people, what I'm saying? So obviously the idea of the three bad guys comes from Masonry, right? The three ruffians, right? Ignorance, superstition. Then we have pharmakia, right? Jack, I'm trying to tell you, listen, today's activists, yo, Martin Luther King was asking people to walk like 50 miles in wood bottom shoes with hoses and dogs on them and all that. I'm just like, yo, hit the like button. Yeah, I'm like, yo, hit the share screen, repost of it. It's wow. But let's go through pharmakia so we can get a little update on pharmakia. Let's start with the demons. All right, pharmakia. Pharmakia is a Greek term from which the modern English words pharmacy and pharmaceuticals are derived. In ancient Greek and biblical context, the word had a complex meaning that went beyond just the preparation of medicine, encompassing the use of drugs for poisoning, sorcery, and magical arts. General Greek usage. In general Greek culture, pharmakia referred to the use and administration of drugs, medicine, and poison. Temple priestess sometimes used potions to induce a trance or altered state of mind to reach the gods. Okay, so same word is used for medicine and poison. We might run across the reason why. There's an interesting reason why. Anyway, biblical use. In the New Testament, Galatians and Revelation, the term is consistently translated into English as sorcery or witchcraft. The biblical context associates pharmakia with idolatry, the use of mind-altering substances to gain control of behavior or for deceptions and magical practices, often connected to the occult. Modern interpretation. The modern application of the term often highlights the connection between ancient practices involving drug use for manipulation or spiritual stupor and contemporary issues like drug abuse or the potential for control through psychiatric medications, bridging the gap between spiritual beliefs and healthcare knowledge. Okay. Let's see what else we got here. Drug abuse, addiction. All right, you know what we should probably do real quick? Let's go here, because this is where it'll get interesting. See why they keep trying to translate it? Just let it happen. What are they doing? That's crazy. Blah, 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 blah. And a light shall shine in the voice of the bridegroom and of the bride shall be heard no more in all the times. For the merchants were great men of the earth, for by their sorceries all nations would, okay. Yeah, see, this is that translation thing here. All right, so basically, this is talking about the end of the world, right? This is talking about the end of the world. And this is one of those things where the translation kind of, what's a good word to describe? Obfuscates the truth. Actually, the word obfuscates the truth. The translation hides the truth. You don't really get the you know what I'm saying? You don't get the impact of what's being or potentially communicated here. Right? Who knows? Because, you know, it's supposed to be a prophecy. It's supposed to be a prophecy, right? But the movie I Am Legend with Will Smith, the movie I Am Legend with Will Smith is based on this verse here, right? So when you read this verse, this is talking about the end of the world. And the end of the world comes about not by sorceries, right? That is a translation, right? It says by the merchants of pharmakia, the salesmen. Merchants are salesmen. The salesmen of pharmakia, right? Now, if you read this as it's translated here in the English, these two parts of the sentence don't really go together, right? Because there's like, you don't have merchants of sorcery. Like salesman of sorcery doesn't even make sense. If you're a sorcerer, you don't need to sell anything. You can just sorcerer it up, whatever it is you're trying to do. So salesmen, merchants, right? It only makes sense if it's a company. But this word right here is where they're translating pharmakia, right? This word is supposed to be pharmakia. So for me, this was interesting because I came across this when I was doing my Hebrew studies. I used to have these really intense dreams about Hebrew, the language itself and some of the symbols and stuff like that. So I went through a phase where I was inundated with. Anyway, so I came across this, and it just sent me down a whole rabbit hole, right? And so instead of dealing with this, right, which is pretty much the surface level, like if you look it up, this is what you pretty much get. Even though they do slip in the truth, like they do say up here, medicine. They do say medicine, right? But you're redirected pretty much to sorcery and magic everywhere else. And you're told that the Bible and Revelation, that's what they was talking about. But we don't really know what they was talking about. Respectfully. We know that the translation could mean sorcery, it could mean poison, or it could mean medicine. Now, the thing is this. There's three definitions: sorcery, poison, or medicine, right? For me, and I don't want to push my ideas on you guys, right? Just sharing information, right? But for me, if I'm trying to use context to make sense of something, right? If the first part of the sentence says merchants or salesmen, right? Merchants and salesmen aren't usually associated with magical poisons or sorcery. Merchants and salesmen are associated with medicine. Just saying. So I just went down that rabbit hole to see what I could find. Especially since the word pharmacy comes from pharmakia, right? So I went down this road to see what I could find. And then sure enough, I found out that there was actually like a real company. And it took me down a super duper crazy rabbit hole, right? 1911 in Sweden, they made a company. And here's their first product, Phosphoenergon. Think about that. Phosphoenergon. The main ingredients was a calf's brain, sugar, and milk. So wow, yeah, a calf's brain, sugar, and milk. So obviously, this is when they're just coming out of cannibal medicines in Europe. You know, early 1900s, they still doing the cannibal thing. So they phasing into, like, you can't make this stuff up. So they're mixing calf brains with sugar and milk, and it's sold as a powder. And later they made pills out of it. Now the pills had cola extract, calcium, iron, copper. So it has some minerals in it, some B vitamins. But it definitely had that dry cow brain. All right. So anyway, now you get an idea, right? And so this company still exists, though, right? In 1995, the company merged with the American pharmaceutical companies Upjohn, becoming Pharmacia and Upjohn. moving its quarters to London. So so this is a big conglomerate now. This is a big conglomerate now. So I thought it was interesting. Yeah, so I thought it was interesting. And like I said, even the Will Smith movie kind of followed that line of reasoning, or the writers did anyway, with the beginning of the movie. I think it starts off with the cure for cancer and the medicine that they created. I'm not sure if it was a shot or how they administered the medicine, but in that movie, it was the medicine that was supposed to be the cure for cancer that wound up turning the whole world into cannibal maniacs and whatever the case may be. So we're kind of following that biblical line of, all right, hold on, let me see something. Okay, yeah, I did think that they also got together. Yeah, they definitely got together as well. Okay, yeah. So yeah, all of these companies are part of Pharmacia, right? So Upjohn, Pfizer, Monsanto, all of these companies are part of Pharmacia. So that is interesting, right? That is interesting that the Bible predicts the end of the world will come from the deception by the merchants of Pharmacia. Peace to the family, ho, ho, ho. And I appreciate everybody who sent me a super chat, everybody who sent me a Cash App. If somebody mailed something to my house and it's on the way and I didn't get it yet, I appreciate that. We quadruply, quintuply appreciate Tika. Tika is 2025's MVP. The first minister. But yeah, so that's interesting to know that the Bible predicts that. What do y'all think about that? I think y'all sleep in the chat. Y'all all right? Y'all had too much eggnog. Y'all got to knock off the eggnog. Y'all got to knock off the eggnog. I think y'all had too much eggnog. What do y'all think about that? What do y'all think about all of Monsanto, Pfizer, Upjohn, like all of the big medical companies and agricultural companies all kind of being under one umbrella? Is that even legal? Isn't that like a monopoly? I guess it's legal because it's obviously it's happening. I'm sure they've separated themselves into different umbrellas of this one and that one and blah, 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 blah. I don't know, Kyle. I think this might be bigger than Mufkazoo, champ. This might be bigger than Mufkazoo, champ. It used to be called the monopoly. Yeah, I think the monopoly rules are still in play, but I think people have learned how to get around the monopoly, thing by breaking up into smaller companies and just having, associations or investments or however they work it. But I mean, we just did a quick little Google. Took us all of 2 or 3 minutes to see how the company is related to this company and that company and Monsanto and this one and that one. So yeah, no, we got to listen. We got to update it. We got new songs. We got a new. We got like 30 new songs. We got a whole new holiday album. We got a whole new holiday album, including our Spanish, our Feliz Navidad. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I don't know if y'all don't know. Yeah, I don't know if y'all don't know. All right. But that's the concept. So I thought it would be good to use as a boogeyman. I thought it would be good to use as a boogeyman, seeing as you have that idea of a real life boogeyman mixed with magic, mixed with sorcery, mixed with, poison and be able to play on that idea. Oh my God. This is crazy, bro. Oh, okay. That's why. Okay, just so you know, I'm here fighting right now with my with my StreamYard is trying like to not share my screen. All right, let's play something while we wait. Let's play something while we wait. Okay, hold up. Okay. I feel like this is wildly small though. Can y'all see that? Is there any way to make that bigger? Man, that is tiny, ain't it? I guess beggars can't be choosers. I better be happy for being able to get. I'm about to say being able to get it up at all. That's funny. All right, so this is this is the Wave book. In the beginning was the Wave. All right, so we're going to jump into this book. And I don't know how long I'm going to keep y'all. But I wanted to jump into this book since we spent so much time yesterday on the family story. Right? All right, so in this book, we begin from a simple but disruptive realization. Much of what modern science treats as fundamental is actually descriptive and not causal. Chemistry, equations, symbols, and formulas are not the forces that build reality. They are the written language we use to talk about those forces. They are music on paper, not the sound itself. What ancient traditions grasp, often more clearly than we do, is that creation is not authored by symbols, but by organized motion. Waves, rhythms, proportions, and resonances that precede matter and later give rise to it. Now, on the science side, right? On the science side, obviously, there are motives that present themselves more clearly. But on the health side, this is what actual health is driven by. This is what actual health is driven by, right? This is what actual health is driven by. And so this is why we have to get to these pockets. This is why we have to get to these pockets. This is why I have a lot of shadow viewership, right? That's why I have a lot of shadow viewership, right? Because people want to see what I'm going to say next. They want to know what I'm going to do next so that they can copy it, emulate it, break it down, remix it, regurgitate it, right? Because this is what is important. And this is what the next level looks like, right? And the simplest way to understand it is the difference between sheet music and music in your ear, right? They are both called music. When you look at a piece of paper with musical notes written on a staff, that is music. That is music. When you hear sounds that have a harmonic transformation into information or emotion, that is also music, right? Pressure waves, organized mechanical waves that translate to information or emotion, that's music, right? The notes written on a paper represent the mechanical wave, the structured mechanical waves that your body translates into information and or emotions, but it's not the same thing. Science is the same exact thing as music. When we look at the equations, when we look at the chemistry, those things represent the forces of life, but they are not the forces of life, which is where there are misses. That is where misses come in, right? And that is where the art of math comes in, which is why we have our Ma'at book. So we can talk about adjusting variables so we can change probabilities, right? Anyway, chemistry sits at this symbolic layer. Molecules, reactions, pathways, equations describe how matter behaves after forces have already shaped it. A chemical formula is like sheet music. It tells you what notes are involved, but it does not make a sound. The actual music, the thing that moves electrons, aligns bonds, folds proteins, drives metabolism, is electromagnetic force, mechanical vibration, pressure, charge, tension, timing. Chemistry is the notation of life. Forces are the performance. Confusing the two leads to the modern era of thinking symbols cause reality, instead of realizing that symbols simply record it. Pretty much. And the funny thing is, I was just doing the random Google yesterday, just to back up, just as backup dancers. I was talking about the trivium and the quadrivium, and that was the description that we got. I even wrote it down because it was such a good description. I wrote it down somewhere in my favorite notebook. I have a new favorite notebook. I wrote it down somewhere in this book, though. I have zero organizational skills inside this book. I don't know, I wrote it somewhere in here. Where did I write that? Yeah, man, I can't find it now. But it was a nice little breakdown about the quadrivium, and it described the quadrivium in terms of pure numbers. Okay, I don't know where it is in here. I don't know where it is inside this book, but the basic gist of it was arithmetic, which is numbers, right? Then it was geometry. No. Yes. Then it was geometry, which is numbers in space. Then it was music, which is numbers in time. And then it was astronomy, which is numbers in time and space. I thought that was the best description of the quadrivium ever. The best description of the quadrivium ever. Very simple and right over the plate. And that is what Masons actually are supposed to be studying, even though most Masons are not. Most Masons do not do that. That is what Masonry is based on. The trivium and quadrivium. Period. So if you want to know the secrets of Masonry, those are the secrets. The secrets of Masonry. Grammar, rhetoric, logic, math, geometry, astronomy, arithmetic. Period. I'm so mad though. We got to wrestle with this share screen like this because it's not really allowing me to pull up my share screen like on the big, how I make it the words big. You know, I got a lot of 40 and 50-year-old people watching. Anyway, an equation itself is not the thing. An equation is not the thing itself. An equation is a precision statement about the thing. It is a narrow, exact description that captures one aspect of how matter or energy behaves under very, very, very specific conditions. It's like an adjective. It qualifies reality. How fast, how strong, how curved, how likely. When physicists write an equation, they are freezing a small slice of behavior into symbolic form so it could be calculated and repeated. The equation is therefore a compression of reality, not reality in full. Geometry, by contrast, is not an adjective about matter or energy. Geometry is the form of matter or energy itself. Before numbers, before algebra, before calculus, reality already existed as shape, boundary, curvature, symmetry, proportion. A standing wave is geometry. An orbit is geometry. A membrane, a cavity, a heart chamber, an atom, a pyramid. These are not descriptions of energy. They are energy organized into shape. Geometry is the character, the full entity made of many interacting properties at once, right? So in it might have been book one or book two, but we talk about this, and we talked about it yesterday in our little marathon. A marathon was 9 hours. It was a pretty decent marathon. You know, the live stream, the streamers would just be a regular stream. 9 hours is a regular stream, right? So in order to join the streamers universe, I got to get my weight up, right? But amongst the YouTube community, once you go past 2 hours, once you go past 5 hours, you're definitely in a marathon, right? But we talked about it yesterday because it comes up as a part of the story. Much simplified though, right? Stuff and the energy that makes up stuff. Stuff, the energy that makes up stuff, right? Newton's physics, quantum mechanics. Newton's physics, stuff, quantum mechanics, the energy that makes up stuff. Now, Within that space, right, you got Newton over here. And then you got the quantum mechanics over here. Right? You got Newton on one side, quantum mechanics on the other side. Both are described as equations, right? Now, or described with equations. Now, the thing is, here's where it gets funny, right? Here's where it gets funny. Because numbers don't fully encapsulate reality. And this is one of my beefs with science. And I don't know if it'll ever be checked or rectified. It's just something that I noticed that bothered me. In science, in order for you to have like a valid theory, right, your results from whatever experimental work you do to validate your theory has to be duplicatable, has to be replicatable, right? And the problem with that is life is not duplicatable or replicatable. Everything in life is a one-time thing, once in a lifetime. That's why we all have fingerprints that are unique to us, a circulatory system that's unique. Like everybody has veins, arteries, heart, whatever, but nobody has the exact same, like your veins and arteries are different than mine. Your capillaries are different than mine. You have a different amount than I do. Everybody does. If you were to like rip the skin off of a hand and you were to look inside of a hand and see how the capillaries and everything are, the capillaries in your hand are totally unique, every single human. So much so that in the future, they're going to have, well, they already have some places that have them, but you put your hand on it. It's not just like heat signature or fingerprints. They actually use your capillaries to identify you because it's that unique. You know what I'm saying? So everybody's unique. When we look at the universal forces are primarily irregular numbers or irrational numbers, right? So if the universe is made up based on irrational numbers and people are made up of unique, like it just, anyway. So because of that problem, in all the equations, you have symbols. And you may not recognize it, but this is where we just went platinum. This is where we just went platinum right here. So remember tonight's lecture, remember tonight's video. This is where we went platinum. This is why you're here. When I go buy a book, and I read a book, I'm looking for one thing at least in that book to justify my $20, $50, $100, $300, whatever I pay for that book. I'm looking for one nugget. Like I want to learn from the book, but I'm looking for that one thing in the book that's like, this might be that one thing for this video. It might not be, but there's a good chance. Top five. This might be that thing for this video, right? Because where the numbers run out, they have to use symbols. And what makes it so like is the use of symbols, the use of symbology is the very thing that people who quote unquote don't believe in theology, people that don't believe in theology, people that believe theology is, fantastical fairy tales. They base their argument on the use of symbology. There's too much symbolism in religion. There's too much symbolism in theology. There's too much symbolism in esoteric thought. So because of the symbolism, they discard the entire corpus of literature as non-scientific. But at the core of science is symbology, is symbolism. That's one of the hardest things to do when you get to like 11th grade, 12th grade, and then you move to college level science and math, is remembering all the equations and the symbols. Yeah, a lot of people have trouble with algebra because they're like, yo, they bring letters. I was good with math when it was numbers. As soon as they bring in the letters, yeah, I had to tap out. A lot of people complain, right? And then we get the male-female thing, right? Men are good with math. Women are good with like English and history, right? And that's weird because that's like a Jedi mind trick. You know what I'm saying? Because typically women are the mathematicians. Before computers, women were computers. Women were the best mathematicians in the world. So I don't know where that went, how that overnight, women started to believe that they weren't good with math. Somebody said it, somebody repeated it, it became a real thing, even though it's not a real thing, right? I have 7 daughters, so I have to tell them the actual truth. Like, hold on. Y'all want me to put the movie on again? They're like, no, we don't need to see the movie again. Yeah, I don't force them to watch the movie about the black ladies at NASA like 7,000 times. So, but anyway, symbols in the numbers, symbols with the numbers to create the equations that represent the laws and the principles in Newton's physics and quantum mechanics to describe reality and to describe creation, right? To describe reality, to describe creation. Now, obviously, our focus is to get a better understanding of how to run the human body, right? That is our thing. That is a fact. I thought I seen Harwin was in here. Oh, there you go. Shout out to Harwin in the building. Hidden Figures. That's the name of the movie. That's a fact. Bro, that's what I'm saying. Like that's some type of Jedi mind trick. That's some type of Jedi mind trick that they're pulling, where they got a lot of young ladies believing, oh, I'm not good in math. Who told you that? Like, who told you that? Like, where you? No. You know what I'm saying? We want to go all the way back to like the caveman time. The men had to be out trying to kill stuff to protect whatever we had going on in the house. That was mommy's main job. How many babies we got? You count them babies. How many cabbages or sandwiches or kales we got? Count the food. You know what I'm saying? Count. The lady got to do the. So if we, even if we want to take it to a caveman, you know what I'm saying? Like barefoot woman in the kitchen, me, some dumb gawa, out in the field hunting or, you know, whatever. Even in that capacity, you know what I'm saying? Like math still was, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, even if we, Ma'at, right? Our math book is named Ma'at. We got 2 math books, right? One is named Ma'at, respectfully, and the other one is named Sishat. So both our math books are named after goddesses. We in tune. We in tune. I got 7 daughters. I can't play with it. Yeah. So I mean that's just a thing. But theology, right? Theology uses symbols the exact same way as what we would call modern science, right? And most people don't understand the reason modern science is called modern science, right? I feel comfortable using the term modern science, even though it's like a pet peeve of mine, but I feel comfortable using it because I know what it means. Most people believe that modern is a reference to time, right? So there's the old form of science, as in like back in the days or ancient, right? And then there's the new science, which is the modern, right? But that's not exactly it. Modern science is based on the idea of a dead universe, right? That is what we are combating. The idea of a dead universe, right? That is the whole thing that we are combating. In case you don't know, we are combating the idea of a dead universe, right? A dead universe, a non-intelligent universe that somehow made life by mistake, and life is somehow just stumbling through. And so the forces that are quantified by equations are in and of themselves unintelligent, which not only is unintelligent, it goes against a scientific principle, because a scientific principle says and has demonstrated time and time again that intelligence actually comes from intelligence. There is no proven source of intelligence that came from non-intelligence. That's not a thing. Intelligence comes from intelligence. Except when we talk about our own intelligence, then we unintelligently create this idea that it comes from a non-intelligent source, right? But for me, that has always been a scam. That has always been a scam. And maybe one of the biggest scams that there ever was, right? That has always been a scam, and possibly one of the biggest scams that there ever was, right? We've all heard all those Illuminati conversations, right? David Icke and what's the other guy who passed away? Jordan Maxwell and all of these folks. Well, we can fast forward and throw Kanye in, right? Kanye, right? Or just anybody who's had a certain type of conversation, they tell you that the Jewish people own entertainment and to some extent real estate and banking. Entertainment and banking, definitely, right? And so for me, it's just questionable for me, right? When I look at people's collections of ideas, because as a part of their ideas, they will identify the Jewish population as owning all the banks, real estate, and the banks. So you're identifying a group of God-following people that believe in God, whether they follow or not, personal decision, but they believe in God or an intelligent universe. They run the banks, entertainment, blah, 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 blah. When we look at science, all of the scientists were also religious people, at least the important scientists, Maxwell, Einstein, even Darwin, right? All of these people are religious people. Somehow we get sold the idea. I just don't understand that. And for me, it's not about a religion, being a Christian or a Muslim or this or that. It's about understanding the intelligent universe so you understand your place in it. Because if you don't understand the intelligence of the universe, then there is no difference between macros, right? A carbohydrate is a carbohydrate. You got a lot of people on the internet tell you carbohydrate's a carbohydrate. Yeah, all carbohydrates are the same. Even though if you challenge them verbally, right, they might be able to win the debate because science is based on a dead universe. So they can line up a bunch of dead facts if you're having a verbal debate and box you out. So you might be trying to get your family on a better diet and you may not be able to do it because you can't find the words. Here's the thing. There is no manner, there is no amount of verbiage, there's no amount of muscles if you put a piece of letter, if you put a head of lettuce in this hand, right, or cabbage, or apple, right, or mango, you put a piece of produce in this hand, and then you put a Twinkie in this hand. You don't have to say anything. There are no amount of words that could equal you to losing the debate if you are allowed to show props. If you can't show anything and you're just having the discussion, all carbohydrate, carb is a carb is a carb is a carb. A protein is a protein. You pull out cabbage, you pull out a Twinkie or Oreo cookie or a cupcake or some Haagen-Dazs ice cream. See, y'all done had some of this today. A slice of pie. Instantly, now, if we start to talk about the actual differences between a produce and a pastry, all of the differences that we would discuss with the produce go back to intelligence, go back to an intelligent source, go back to an intelligent universe, a organized universe. An organized universe that is creating layers of organization. That organization culminates in your body's organization. And so you want to give your body something highly organized, right? As opposed to something that creates disorder. And complex ideas start to get simple, right? So there is a greater purpose to us having these other discussions, right? Because the reason why you're having trouble, I'm having trouble, we're having trouble getting through to our cousins, our mom, our co-worker, our teacher, is because of our ability to communicate what's important. Yeah, it really at a certain point it becomes common sense. Let's keep cooking. Blah blah blah. Okay, hold on. Let me see how I do this. Bam. All right, because geometry holds multiple properties simultaneously, length, angle, curvature, proportion, symmetry, it carries more information than any single equation. This is why early civilizations could encode deep physical insight without formulas. By working with geometry, they were working directly with object level structure of reality, not a symbolic approximation of it. Geometry is the body. Equations are labels placed on the body after the fact. A story is the next level up. A story is the next level up. A story is what happens when multiple geometries interact through time. A story contains characters, actions, constraints, and outcomes. That is exactly what a physical process is. I want y'all to understand this. This is how the highest level of teaching, this is what we're going to come to find out. Some of us already understand this. Maybe a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of percentage of people. Not even 1%. 1% of a percent of a percent of a percent of a percent may really, really, really understand what theology is. But then you have a larger group of people that are believers. And the problem with believers is, for the most part, they just believe in the actual story. They just believe in the actual story part. And so that's where the problem comes in. When you're trying to prove that a man named Muhammad, who was illiterate, sat inside a cave, and while he was in a cave, an angel appeared to him and told him the Quran. What? he told him the Quran and he remembered it. Yeah. How dare Muslims try to violate the Christians and be mad at the Christians because they believe Jesus might have walked on water? Bruh, I feel like it's easier to believe somebody walked on water than to believe that an illiterate man was in a cave and an angel appeared to him in a cave and told him a book, and he remembered the whole entire book word for word, and then later on told somebody else the book, and then that person wrote the book down. Bruh. We all learned the telephone game in elementary school. We all learned the telephone. Like, nobody can tell somebody something to tell somebody else to tell somebody. But that's the story part. That's the story part, right? For me, I don't need to believe that somebody actually lived in a whale's mouth for 3 days. Or if somebody proves that person can't live in a whale's mouth for 3 days, then that invalidates the whole Bible. Like, oh, the Bible is debunked. Nobody can live in a whale mouth for 3 days. Okay. Did you think somebody lived in a whale's mouth for 3 days? Right? But what we have today is not even just, so I'm trolling a little bit, but what I want people to get from the early chapters in this book, right? And for the people tuning in kind of late, here's what we're on. This is the book we are currently discussing right now. So if you don't have this, go to Amazon and get this book. This is what we are currently discussing. Right? Oh, wait, y'all don't even see what I'm showing? That's crazy. Oh, there you go. Yeah, this is the book we're discussing. If you're just tuning in, right? And one of the things that I want to communicate early in this book, or we try to communicate early in this book, is it is not just the actual science that was passed down from our ancestors to the Greeks, the Romans, and later on the Germans and the English people, or we can just call them all the Franks, right? It's not just the actual stuff. I've been pointing out stuff. People smarter than me have pointed out stuff. Like, this stuff, right? Like, we can say, oh yeah, we got this papyrus, and this papyrus has this, stuff, right? But beyond the stuff is the actual structure of how we approach science, right? That is how theology is shaped. Theology is shaped the exact same way, right? So here in this early chapter, this is what we're discussing, right? Because I can read this a few different ways, right? I can read this a few different ways. And if you are trying to look at these words on your cell phone, I definitely apologize. But my Google is bugging and it's not letting me share any other way. The StreamYard, but StreamYard works through Google, so it's really Google. We had this problem before, and I had to uninstall Google and reinstall Google, and then it was fine. So I know it's a Google issue. But anyway, let me read this again, and I'm going to read it 2 more times. I'm going to read it once, and then I'll read it over again with the parentheses, right? So I'll read it without the parentheses, and then I'll read the parentheses, and I might read it a 3rd time. A story, let me go back for context. This is why early civilizations could encode deep physical insight without formulas. No, let me go back further still. Okay. Because geometry holds multiple properties simultaneously, length, angle, curvature, proportion, symmetry, it carries more information than any single equation. This is why early civilizations could encode deep physical insight without formulas. By working with geometry, they were working directly with object level structure of reality, not a symbolic approximation of it. Geometry is the body. Equations are labels placed on the body after the fact. A story is the next level up. A story is what happens when multiple geometries interact through time. A story contains characters, actions, constraints, and outcomes. Now I'm going to read that part again. A story contains stable forms, motion and transformation, laws or boundaries, and new forms. Now I'm going to read that again all together. A story contains characters. The characters are stable forms. Actions. Action is motion and transformation, right? When you have motion and transformation, you're talking about energy. The using of energy, the transformation of energy from one state to another. So you have characters and their actions, right? Characters are stable forms, and the stable forms utilize energy while transforming energy. Then you have constraints, laws, which are constraints, which are laws and boundaries, right? Those are the limits to which the actions of the characters can follow. And then you have the results or the outcomes of those actions by the characters. So this is how our ancestors taught through story. And certain stories that were highly specific and relative to the vast majority of all people was adopted and retold and retold and retold and retold. And sometimes the characters changed. But the core principles in the story did not change because the characters were not as important as the science embedded in the story. Right? So whether we're talking about Osiris dying and then living, or Horus dying and then living, or whether it's Jesus dying and then living, or whether we're talking about the laws of thermodynamics. The laws of thermodynamics is just, you should feel ripped off with the laws of thermodynamics because it's really the New Testament without a story. So you should feel ripped off. You should feel like they owe you a story to go along with the laws of thermodynamics. Because if you add the story with it, it becomes more interesting. Energy can't be created or destroyed, only transformed. Okay, transformed, transfigured. So again, a story is the next level up from an equation. It encompasses much more information than the equation. You would need a great many equations. It's like a picture is worth, what is it? A picture is worth 1,000,000 words. A story is worth 1,000,000 equations. A story is worth 1,000,000 equations. Right? Put that in your back pocket. There is no way for an equationist to keep up with a storyteller. All right. That is exactly what a physical process is. Right? A story contains characters, which are stable forms, actions, emotions. Of those stable forms, constraints, which are limits on those forms, and what type of energy they can utilize or transform, and the outcomes. That is exactly what a physical process is. An electron transport chain is a story. A heartbeat is a story. A stellar evolution is a story. Each character is a geometric structure, and each interaction is an exchange of energy constrained by geometry. This is the true origin of scientific mechanism. First, there is form, then there is interaction. Only afterward do equations appear as bookkeeping tools to track specific relationships inside that interaction. So, that was the secret weapon that I kept in my back pocket. And not really much of a secret weapon. It was just a matter of letting Unc and his buddies talk crazy. Because me and Unc had been having the same conversation for 15 years. And Unc has been reading the definition on Wikipedia, scientific theory. And I realized a long time ago that he did not know what a scientific mechanism was. That is the heart of a scientific theory. Did y'all hear that music just now? that music seemed like, well, way too timed, right? Y'all got in my door, jamming up my door. Wow. Got something jamming up my door. That is a fact. And they disbanded. I disbanded the boy group, the boy band. I disbanded the boy group because that was their secret. Their secret was that they didn't believe what they were saying. And I found out they had a problem. in their organizational structure, right? In order to keep up with me, they had a young guy named EnQi, who was pretty sharp in studying a specific set of science. He was sharp in haplotypes and haplogroups, and that was kind of his thing. So in order to talk science, they would get, me and EnQi. The problem is, on more than one occasion, I took EnQi out into deep water, and sometimes your passion to get the best of you. And he revealed to me that he was Muslim. Well, that was it. That was it. You cannot have an atheist group with a full-blown practicing Muslim in the middle as your spokesman. That was it right there. That was it right there for them. Yeah, that was it right there. But the structure of theology, though, I want y'all to get this part, though, right? Because theology not only gave like specific scientific facets to what we call modern science today, how it's organized, the structure of exploration, scientific theory, scientific observation, the core of that, which is a scientific mechanism, identifying parts and the interactions of those parts. Those are theological precepts. Those are theological precepts that the West has borrowed. And to understand this, I know y'all understand this. Listen to me. I know y'all going, if you don't understand it yet, I know you're going to understand this next example that I give you, right? And I'm going to need to see some participation in the chat. How many people in the chat, listen to this, just answer this question. How many people in the chat have loaned somebody something? It could be a CD. It could be $20, $50, $100, right? You loaned them, your sneakers. You know what I'm saying? You loaned them a jacket. Maybe they came, your next door neighbor, their iron was broke. They had to go to work. They needed your iron. You let them borrow your iron, right? Or you let somebody borrow a hammer, a screwdriver. You let somebody borrow something. And they had it so long. No, listen to what I'm saying first before you comment, because that's not the example yet. But you loan somebody something. Money, an item, doesn't matter what it is. You loaned them something. And they had that thing for so long that you had to borrow it back. You know what I'm saying? Like you had to cozy up to them to get your item back. You know what I'm saying? You had to go to their crib and be like, hey, is that my iron right there? Hold on. Let me time out. Let me give y'all something while I go have a dad moment real quick. Because we do have some goodies. So here, y'all can deal with Felice Nabi die real quick.
Feliz Navidad. Feliz Año Nuevo. We got another chance to get it in. Get it in, get it in, get it in. Feliz Navidad. Feliz Año Nuevo. Whoa. We got another chance to get it in. Get it in, get it in, get it in. Bring it back again. Some of us was enemies, some of us was friends. Someone worked, someone spent. Either way, we got another chance to get it in. Out of that mud, out of that jam, whole crew locked in. We don't move for the ground. Live up, read the books, let it soak in. Numbers on my mind while the snow still thin. Work smarter, not harder, that's facts. But you gotta get smarter to start breaking your back. Numbers on the plug, boxes in the den. And get a kingpin, blueprint with the pen. Hit the link, do your thing then. Turn the side hustle to a real win. New year, new bag, that's the plan. But the grind same way, I'ma stand where I stand. Feliz Navidad. Feliz Año Nuevo. We got another chance to get it in. Get it in, get it in, get it in. Feliz Navidad. Feliz Año Nuevo. We got another chance to get it in. Get it in, get it in, get it in.
Yeah, y'all better stop hating on my Feliz Navidad. So, so this is what I was saying though. That's what Western science done did. Western science done borrowed so many things from theology that we got to come along and borrow them back. We got people arrogantly waving their finger saying, aha, what you have is less than because you don't have this and you don't have that. And you can't substantiate this because you can't use this and you don't have. And I'm looking and I'm saying, wait a minute. That's my lawnmower. Wait, what are you talking about? That's mine. No. Hold on. You saying something about my grass, my lawn, but you're cutting your lawn and saying your lawn look better than mine, but that's because you borrowed my lawnmower, you didn't give it back. Yeah, I'm trying to get a ride from you to get to work because I don't have no gas in my car because I loaned you my last $20 and you ain't giving back my money. So this gas is in your car is probably the huh? The gas that's in the engine, scratch that. The engine of modern science is theology. And because theology is based on the ancient principles of geometry, there's a lot more to get. There's a lot more to get. And the things that we're missing show up as heart disease #1 killer. Heart disease #1 killer. Look at this. Y'all see that? Now, we talk about these in the Black's Anatomy books and our timelines, right? But think about this. All right, cardiac melanocytes discovered in the last 20 years. So we're running around on the assumption, we're running around on the assumption that modern science understands the human heart because we could do surgeries on it. And modern science does not. It knows very, very little about the human heart. Outside of like the basics, which are not even known really structurally from the heart. It's just assumed from other body parts and put onto the heart, right? So because we learned how to do surgery on other body parts, like, okay, if you cut it, it'll bleed. If it bleed, it goes, it goes bad, it dies, whatever. So we learn how to stitch stuff up and stuff like that. So boom, we learn how to do that on the heart, right? And then from being able to look at young, healthy hearts, like a person die from whatever reason that's not related to the heart, you can look at their heart and be like, okay, this is what a young, healthy heart looks like. You see an old heart and be like, oh, okay, well, look, here's the differences. You know what I'm saying? Then, if somebody has a problem, you can look at a part of their heart and go, oh, look, that's not supposed to be like that. So let's see if we take one of these and put it there, will it, and then oh, wow, we get some success transferring young, newer parts to older parts. So there's some things that you learned in that basic part. But again, there's stuff that we're missing, right? Because what we're missing is life is about the sound, the music. When we're doing surgery, we're operating on parts, right? And we're not taking into consideration the stuff, the energy stuff, right? We're dealing with the stuff, but not the energy part, right? And the energy part is the life part. So there's a lot of stuff that we're missing, right? That's because of the scientific framework. The framework has been reduced to equations and dead symbols. Tika is trolling. She just tell people they can keep it. We're not all that blessed. We're not all that blessed. I'm gonna need mine back. Like, oh, I'm gonna need mine back, champion. Yeah. Put that over there back on. Yeah, give me that $20. I'm gonna need that. I'm gonna need that back. Or we may have to trade. Yeah, keep that iron. You know what I'm saying? Keep that iron. But I'm gonna have to hold on to this right here. Yeah, I'm gonna have to hold on to this right here. That's how I got a bad story circulating about me that I tried to extort Brother Polite. I didn't try to extort Brother Polite. I was Polite's first scam victim. And he went on to scam me multiple times. Like you got the cousin that smoke crack. He come in, steal your toaster. He tell you he's straight. He ain't gonna do it again, and he leave, and you notice your Walkman is missing. But the first time he owed me some money, I had to secure a physical, some physical property of his until he returned said cash. Then I returned said property. But it wasn't me extorting Brother Polite. It was just me securing return of investment. Yeah. Facts. Facts. that's how I go. Yeah, that's how I go. I'm like, hold on. I'm gonna need to. Yeah, I'm gonna hold on. Take your time. I'm gonna hold on to this though until you figure that out. I'm gonna just hold on to this. Yeah, I'm gonna hold on to this. Don't worry about it. You good. Yeah, I'm gonna hold on to this till we figure it out. All right. Let me make sure what y'all looking at is the same thing I'm looking at. A story, blah, 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 monetize. Okay, good. So this is the true origin of a scientific mechanism. First, there is form, then there's interaction of those forms. Afterward, we get equations. Equations are bookkeeping tools to track specific relationships of those interactions. Ancient myth, theology did not invent stories instead of mechanisms. It created mechanisms in a narrative form. A narrative can hold many variables at once without collapsing into symbols. I'll read that again. Ancient theology, myth, did not invent stories instead of mechanisms, which is what many people will lead you to believe today. Instead, the stories are mechanisms in and of themselves. Because a story can hold millions of equations, millions of working relationships, millions of interactions at one time. A story can encode way more information than a simple equation or even a complex equation. But even your most complex equation is simple when compared to a story. Modern science inverted the order it starts with equations and then tries to reconstruct geometry from equations. Modern science inverted the order. It starts with equations and then tries to reconstruct the geometry from the equations. Ancient science started with geometry and encoded interaction as story. Both describe the same phenomena because we only live in one universe, right? So both are attempts at describing the same phenomena. but at different resolutions or POVs. Equations are high precision adjectives. Geometry is the full character. Story is the system level interaction of characters across time. This is why creation myths, temple layouts, musical systems, anatomical metaphors are not pre-scientific. They are pre-algebraic science working directly at the level where energy becomes form and form becomes behavior. When you say in the beginning was the word, you are not hearing poetry first. You are hearing the earliest language for organized structure entering reality. Geometry beginning to speak. Hebrew chapter 1 verse 3 says that Jesus is the express image of his person, using the Greek word character. That word does not mean a picture or statue. It means an imprint, the mark, or precise pattern. It refers to exact correspondence of structure, not a visual likeness meant for admiration. Jesus is being described as the structural expression of God's nature, not a portrait of God's appearance. Again, Jesus is being described as the structural expression of God's nature, not a portrait of God's appearance. This is why the Bible simultaneously forbids the worship of images. An image, in the forbidden sense, is a frozen representation that replaces the living source. A carved idol, painting, or mental picture stops motion, stops relationship, stops transformation. It takes something dynamic and collapses it into a static object. Worshipping images is forbidden because it mistakes representation for reality. It substitutes form from substance. Worshipping idols and images is the opposite of collapsing the wave. That is exactly what science is. Just in case people don't know that. That is what science is. You exchange the realities for the images. Okay. I think this is too heavy for Christmas.
Boys like truck at the gate. Labels on the floor, pack the pain, ship away. Cousin on the line talking, bro, what's next? Told him read one page, then we talk about checks. Family in the kitchen, rice on the stove. Vision on 100 while the year's still cold. Some was lost, some was blend. I'ma flip both sides, make it all a sin. Police on my mind, but I'm counting these flows. Every bar cold like a brick of egos. Hit the link, do your thing, let it spin. Don't watch them, let it start from within. Calendar flip, but the clock don't stop. Same four corners trying to push to the top. If you breathing, you can still double in. We got another chance, get it in.
Dr. EnQi.
Heart beating like a kick drum. On the porch block still hums. Scratch a record, set the tone. We turn this corner to a throne.
Oh, you know what I wanted to do though? Hold on. I did want to look at this video though before I got out of here.
This fitness craze dangerous for kids. No, it's about empowerment and health. This book is groundbreaking for children's health. It's misleading and dangerous. No, but this book is pushing boundaries too far. No, it's essential education. This is an outrage. We can't let this happen overnight. You're just scared of progress. We need to move forward now. It's pushing kids too far.
It's pushing
Kids too hard, but between motivation and pressing.
Rolling through the sand like a thought in disguise. The scarab spins truth where the cosmos could.
We can't release the whole book. Not yet. No, too much still hidden. If we drop everything now, it gets swallowed, lost in Pharmakia's noise. Chapters, not the whole. Step by step. That's how light survives. For now, we hibernate, we study, we search every book that's ever existed for the true knowledge of QRST, not just what we think we know. What was buried, what was stolen, what was scattered. We trace it all. Before the weight can settle, then we go further back. Back to QRST, before translations, before distortions, before anyone touched it and called it theirs. Christ, heavy, ancient, a weight.
Let's start now. Well, it is Sunday.
Buzz from yesterday should last. Pharmakia should be so confused we've at least got a few weeks to focus without anyone noticing.
And we need to lay low for a while anyway, for a variety of other reasons. So study it is.
And sleep in this library, he said. There are things here that go beyond the reach of search bars or even AI. If we want Christ in its true form, we'll have to go back before the internet, before translations, before the distortion.
So do we get more blue magic smoothies now? We have to take this very serious, guys.
You're right, let's focus. This is no sermon. It's a chart.
Expire, breathe, spirit, breath.
It's not just vocabulary, it's a code. Every word about life and soul is just breath in disguise. That means every idea is breath. Every poem, every plan, oxygen made visible. Inspiration. Everyone says it means death. But look, it only means to breathe out.
Now, what we call the end is just another exhale. Life measured in breath, not years.
Look at this symbol. It looks like a map or a constellation. This is my favorite, to breathe together. They turned it into secret plotting, but what it really means is unity, shared lungs, shared rhythm. It's exactly what we felt yesterday in the gym. 27 charges.
27 points. That wasn't coincidence. That was respiration in unison.
So wait, even our jokes, even our prayers are conspiracies?
The good kind, breathing together. That's the original conspiracy of life.
This is why respiration matters. Every inhale, every exhale isn't just gas exchange. Oh, it's electricity. Every breath lights the cells.
Human chemoluminescence, the light the body gives off. The breath fuels it. The body literally shines.
So the glow up is real? We really be shining out here.
Yes, Amor, they are hiding the true light body. It's Pharmakia's secret.
In the beginning was the way was God, the way was God, the way was hard. Every step a symphony.
Let's go to Amazon and get all our books, please.
Come on, don't hate. Book 3 is better than book 2. Book 2 better than book 1. By the time I get to like book 5, we'll be ready to go head to head with Pixar. By the time I get to book 5, we'll be ready to go head to head with Pixar. All right, y'all sleepy. We're gonna pick this up. I still got movies to watch.
This is why you have to go to Amazon and get the book, Rich Abs, Poor Abs, now.